Hi guys, and welcome to today's tutorial. Today I'll be looking at the measure application within the Leica iCON field software. So as I already stated within the Leica iCON general navigation tutorial, iCON is application driven. So we go into the application for the function that we want to do. So if I wanted to do my as-builds, I will go into the measure application. So we can see there I'm currently linked up to a GPS. So what I can do is just give you a quick look at some of the tools that we have within our measure application that can kind of help you in doing your as builds. So the first thing we might want to look at doing is we might want to survey a control point with our GPS out on site. So as I already stated, you go into the toolbox, which is the functions within that application. So we can see there we have control point. If I click back in now, I can see control point is highlighted. Now I could select measure and just do an instant recording. However, I might want to average my measurement. So up here, I can change my measure mode and I can set it to average numbering of measurements. So I'm going to do 25 measurements averaged. Generally, when you're surveying points or control points, you differentiate your points in two ways, either by the point ID, so the naming of the point, or the point code, as in the type of feature that it is. So if we're doing control points, I don't necessarily need to add a code. So for this, what I'll do is I'll just define the point and I'll call it station 1. Okay. What I'll do is I'll just select average, and this will just run through those 25 measurements, and I have it set up that it prompts for a code. So I'm not going to go with a code there at the minute. And you can see there we have S1. What we'll now do is take our measure mode back to instant. And what I'll do is I'll just do a quick little bit of an as-built. What I can do is I might want to look at recording a point. So if I change my point and I could look at, this could be MH1, and I can say that this feature here is a manhole. Okay, and you can see there now we have manhole 1 surveyed just as a regular point. What we might want to do then is actually survey a string line. So it could be the outline of a building edge. So what I could then do is I could survey a line. I could change point name to B1 for building point 1. I could survey a point. And you can see there on the screen, it's actually automatically showing you that a line is going to be created. And this will continue until I select stop line. Okay, and you can see now it's not actually trying to link back to that last used point. A couple of the extra tools that we have here within Leica iCON is measure arc. So if we wanted to do a curve line, so we could just imagine a curve line coming around here, we could measure our first point, our second point, and we'll just say our third point. And you can see there we've created an arc. Okay, and again, this just helps us doing this all in the field prior to bringing it back into CAD to clean it up and get it ready for presentation. A couple of other tools we have is close line. So if I was still selected into that entity, I could select close line and it will actually close out the figure. Okay, so next, as I also stated, we might actually differentiate our points by codes. What I'll do is I'll actually just quickly change over into my robotic. Okay, and I'll jump back across. So as I stated within the Leica iCON general navigation tutorial, you can edit your measure bars, and I could change this now to code, and I could change this to attribute if I so wished. I can select into code now, and we can see there we've no code built in. It could be a case that we have a code list already generated, and we can import that in back from the home menu within the import configurations options. But within the toolbox, we have options to create our own list and select new. We can also select to read from files. So if we've imported in a file that has associated codes within it, we can actually have an automatically generated code list directly from that file. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll just create my own quick one. Just create one called manhole. And I can actually create attributes that I want to be stored after I survey that point. So I will create one and just call it type. And I will change this to by list. And I can add a list. And I could say, is it a rectangle shape? Or is it a circle? Okay, so that's our first attribute. I could then come in and say cover dimension, and I could set that to value. And I could then also add invert level, change that to value. And I could also add just a note section and leave that to text. Okay, I can give it a description and refer to it as manhole. And I could define a symbol for it. So I'll just click in and create a couple of ones there quickly. Okay, so we have a couple of codes there. So I'll just come back and define manhole. And I could say, I'll just change my measure mode up here to continuous. I'll select start, and I'll just survey my manhole up here. So what I'll actually just do is change this to attributes as well. And within attributes, I will just change it to always prompt. Okay, and I'm currently set to B7. Okay, but I could activate then point ID, and I could change the point name if I want, but I'm not really that interested. So what I will do is I will just select start. And when I select store, we can see there our code is manhole, but it's asking for us to fill out our attributes now. So I'll say it's rectangular, the cover dimension is 0.5, and I could say the invert level is 1.4. Okay, notes, no notes. Okay, and I could set green tick, and we can now see that our point is surveyed with the correct symbol as B7. What we will also notice then is that if we go into our layer manager and down to our jobs, I expand that out, it actually goes onto its own layer. And this will hold true when we export the CAD file of the job, which makes it a lot easier for managing your information back in your CAD package and getting it ready for presentation. I'll just do a couple of other points. So I'll just create a road center line. And what I'll do is I'll just turn off prompt attributes, select start line, and I will just do a quick what I'll actually just do is turn off prompt for codes. You'll see now it will just hold RCL until I tell it otherwise. I can change it to road edge. And you can see now what I actually could do is I could select start line. And now when I join them, they'll actually come across, and I can select stop line and go on to a new string. Okay, and I can start line again. And you can see there, if we made a mistake and we didn't join these two, it's not the end of the world. I could come out and I could go into my stakeout application, go to my toolbox, and I go connect points. Select our 2 points and select green tick. Come back into our measure application, and we can see there we have a road created. Some of the added functions that are within the measure application would include measure sets of angles. However, this will be covered in its own tutorial, and it is an added license within the Leica iCON field software. So what we could now do is we could export. So I'll just export out my job as a CAD file to my USB. And you can see is we can define the meters, the units, and we can define point attributes we actually want to be visible beside it. And what I'll do is I'll just say code values, text size 2, select green tick. I'll just refer to it as measure application DXF, and I'll export that out. So that's an as-built complete, and you'll see how this different type of information comes across into our CAD package now. Okay, so once it's here, we can browse for our drawing. And what I will do is I will just navigate to my USB. And we can see there we measure application as we export it. Okay. What we can see here now is our points have come across onto screen, but what you can't see is that they've been split onto their correct layers. So if I explore my layers now, we can see there they've all come across. The manhole has its own specific layer, road centerline and road edge, and even the attribute information has its own layer. Okay, the line work has all come across, so our arcs and our lines. Okay, and even the symbols have come across. What it will do is it will provide consistency throughout any of our as-builds done on site. And as I was saying, back within the iCON field software, what I could then do is I could actually export out my code list as an XML to my USB or as a CSV, and then I could share it, and then I can ensure that everyone that's working on my site is using the same code list, so all the as-built information is coming back as unified as possible. So guys, that's the main tools within the Measure application. If you have any further questions, please feel free to get in touch.